We just got done with a 3-day family reunion. Lots of activities went on for those 3 days. But I thought y'all might find a little bit of interest in one of the mornings we actually had a tour out here on the farm. We set out some of the equipment that Grandpa built and put out a whole bunch of the tractors that we own. And that way we can kind of talk about the history of all that. So I thought, well, some of you might find that quite interesting. So that's just a real quick highlight of that talk that lasted for quite a while. The guy doing most of the talking in this video is my dad, Leroy. And you'll see Grandpa off to the side once in a while. Grandpa's 101, and he's about to turn 102 in August. So he was pretty excited about all this. I really don't know what to say about it other than give you a sound warning on it. I was kind of busy running around doing things that morning, so I just put the camera out there and people were kind enough to move it around for me. So, you know, the sound is pretty quiet and then it might get kind of loud if the camera moves. Hopefully I did a pretty good job with the edit and knocked a lot of that out of there, but just be prepared to turn it up and turn it down. That's what I'm saying. So without further ado, here's a little highlight from talking about the equipment Grandpa built and some of the tractors that we own.
Okay, I put these here as an example of my dad's ingenuity. He built this grader and used it for years and years, rebuilding terraces, dragging roads, and making grass waterways, whatever you need to level out or build up. And the main frame, that big frame on there, is the base of an oil well unit. So we repurpose out here. This is built out of oil well pipe. He did this in about the 50s, didn't you, Dad? We just put a new deck on it because the wood was long gone. You remember this in Melbourne? We would go to Hieronymus and I'd bale and you guys would pick up the bales and throw it on here.
Put the bales on this.
Yeah, and this is unique because the rear wheels turn with the front wheels. They're hooked together. When Dad was living in California long before I was born, he went to the Rose Bowl parade and he said, how do those floats go around the corner? If you have a trailer, you know, you stay away from the corner because it'll bounce up over it if you turn too short. Yeah. This one doesn't. It follows the wheel, so he figured out how to do that and made this so we can go anywhere and the rear wheels follow the front wheels follow the vehicle. But this was a machinery carrier. Back in the days before we had really good hydraulics or good wheels and the machinery was too wide to go down the road, we back over and chain thing on the hook here, and then these turn, I think they're frozen now, hook to the winch, and we pick the machine up and away we go. Oh my. Tires and axles are all from an old full-type combine. This is lamb's quarter. It's very good spinach. You take and cook that up and it makes a great spinach. Okay. I'm going to start here because this is the oldest one we have right now. Dad had a case dealership for 15 years, and when I left to go into the Peace Corps, he finally gave it up in about 65. So that means he started in, what year did you, 50? Yeah, what, 1950? He had the dealership downtown, and then it got to be too difficult. He brought it out here, and I'll explain a little bit about the shop when we get around over there about how that was built. But this is a tractor he bought in 32, long before he was in dealership. So I wanted to show you from the late 20s, this came out in like 29, all the way up to 90. We haven't afforded any more tractors. From Case, we've got the Kubota down there, which I call a Case wannabe since it's orange, all the way up to there. But anyway, I rode this thing a lot of hours. Dad bought it in 32. And we sold it to a neighbor. He traded it off, and Dad went up and got it back, and it sat in the barn for 40 years. And they had a tractor showing, I think Hayes was the first one. Anyway, it's DeMar. Anyway, I pulled it out, cleaned it all up, put gas in it, and it fired up. We go, okay, we're in business. And so we've been taking tractor shows ever since. Inside, Dad has 5 plaques. He wasn't there all the time, but every year we go, he gets oldest exhibitor, so it's a pretty good deal. This time he was in a video. I've got a video. They come and interviewed him. It was gasoline, because diesel was hard starting. So they would they had to start up this gas motor and they go get it running real fast, and they shove in the clutch, they go pop, 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 and finally start running. It took forever. And the first time Kay showed this at the Hutchinson State Fair, Dad went down there, and John Deere sitting beside it, and they went to all that work to get their started, and they shut it off, and Case just goes over and the next year John Deere was turked the other side of the fairgrounds. I think you was with us, Melvin, when we...
I never drove it, but
I thought you went with us to the world premiere.
I don't remember.
You see the difference between this one and that?
Yeah.
That we call it the long one. They took the tank off and set it back here and made it twice as big. And now we set up high. Look at my vision down compared to over there. You can't see diddly if you're sitting down. So they called it Comfort King, but it's still the same tractor. Still diesel, 6-speed. It has this one has a foot clutch instead of a hand clutch.
Sit down.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
Not in my nature. This has 4-speed transmission with 3 power shifts. You don't need the clutch to go from one to the other. So that was nice. Essentially 12 gears. Cab come out with it from the factory. So we had air conditioning finally. Here we use water coolers. We bought this tractor in 47 because it had live power takeoff. That meant when you stuck your foot on the clutch, the equipment that you was pulling a mower or anything would keep running. The old ones, if you stepped on the clutch, everything quit. So it'd plug up. If you had to stop, you'd have to clean everything out and get it going. But I learned to shift by shifting without the clutch out a long time. Anyway, we bought this in 47 because it had live power takeoff, so he could continue to be it. But it didn't have any power, so there's a new engine sitting down there in the shed. He put in a Ford engine. He wore out 2 Ford engines. Now he's got a Chrysler Slant 6 in there. But then the rear end wore out, so he bought a used tractor and bolted them here. And this is a used tractor. They bolted back in. The wheels off a 444 Massey. The front end is a truck. This is a LTD car radiator. So the only original piece that's on here is the gas tank and this frame here. But it's a 47 that we bought.
That's a real hybrid.
Okay, this is the picture that I had.
Yeah.
And then here's the plaques Dad's got for oldest exhibitor. Here's a 52 price list. Here's some decals that we used to have up. You see I've got a sign outside there you saw. Dad had this when he was downtown. Walsh Brothers, and then he changed it to Walsh Brothers. This is all about the L. I had the same friend paint the L. He just did it without me knowing it.
Oh my God. Oh my.
And here's our first tractor show. We got Matthew and Dad and I with the L. That's the tractor show. And this is what we had on it, the history of the tractor and all the changes that Dad made. Here is a picture of the Walsh lineup. They had about 1, 2, 3, they had 4 of those L's lined up right out here where I've got these lined up. Okay.
That's too simple explanation.
That's the blower.
Oh, this is the blower, Carmen?
The blower.
Okay.
Showed you this.
Yes. But if you've ever worked in some place, you get tired of walking around tables. So Grandpa solved that problem. Yeah?
It's got a brake too.
It's got a brake.
So creative.
So, yeah, and this is the cake stand I made for our wedding. And I made my wife a jewelry box. And those 2 legs actually have a story. And I don't know if Grandpa wants to say that or not, but the little one over there, the east one, for all you city people. Right? The left one. Did you get that in World War II, Grandpa? You got the little lathe in World War II, and you had to actually apply with paperwork to get permission to buy it because of the machining and metal shortage of World War II. And this lathe, you remember what year you got this one? 39. Got it in Wichita, Kansas. He's got an amazing story about loading it, because this thing weighs 3,200 pounds. And I know that because I picked it up with my crane to get it over here. But he said that to get it out of the factory it was at down there, a couple big guys showed up with a flatbed truck and a winch that was hand operated, and they winched it up onto that truck, and then they winched it over onto the truck Grandpa bought, because his truck didn't have a winch. So, and then the bill was at $2 to do that.